The harsh reality for men. Men are the minority in today's workforce. They are facing a whole new reality in the workplace. They have to learn how to adapt to this new environment and not just be a bystander. The harsh reality for men in society. Men are often portrayed as the aggressors, while women are portrayed as the victims. This is not true, as men are also victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. The majority of crimes against men go unreported to the police. In addition, when men are assaulted or raped, they have a higher risk of suicide than women do. What the harsh reality means for men. The harsh reality is that men are not given enough opportunities to talk about their emotions. They are not given enough time to process their thoughts and feelings. And the worst part is that they are not given the right amount of space to be vulnerable. This section will explore the different ways in which society has failed men and how they have turned this into an opportunity for themselves. Introduction. Men have been told from a young age that it's wrong to show emotions, that it's wrong to be vulnerable, and that it's wrong to feel anything other than anger or happiness. This section will explore how society has failed men and how they have turned this into an opportunity for themselves. How men can overcome the harsh reality. Men are often faced with a harsh reality that they are not enough. This can be due to their social environment, a lack of confidence, or even the media. These negative influences can cause them to feel inadequate and less confident in themselves. Men need to remember that they are enough and that there is no such thing as perfection. There is no such thing as perfection, and men need to remember this. They should not compare themselves to others or feel inadequate because of this comparison. Men should also try their best at what they do and take pride in it because it's all about progress, not perfection. The harsh reality is that it's better to be a woman than a man. The harsh reality is that it's better to be a woman than a man. It's better to be a white woman than any other race, and it's better to be a cisgender woman than any other gender identity. Many people have been trying to figure out why this is the case. They have looked at the data and concluded that there are many reasons for this discrepancy. One of them is the way that women are treated in society, which makes them less likely to experience depression or anxiety than men. Being a man can come with some difficulties. Many people believe that being a man can come with some difficulties. This is because society often expects men to be tough, competitive, and successful. However, this is not true for all men. There are many types of men and they have different needs and desires. In order to be happy in life, it is important for all people to find their own path and figure out who they are. This applies to both genders. Things that happen to men because they are born male, things that women will never experience. Some of these things might not be a bad thing, but at the same time, there are some things that women may never experience. I want to share how different men and women can be and how we should respect each other for what we have in common, not for what separates us. Men need to embrace their natural strengths and recognize that women are just as good at those things. Women need to recognize men's strengths and support them in doing so. And every man and woman to be a little bit more like Jesus by loving the other sex with a humble heart. How men's social roles shape their lives. Men are not just socialized to take up certain roles in society. They are also socialized to be masculine, which has a significant impact on how men's lives unfold. This is because socialization is a process that teaches us what it means to be a man and how we should behave in society. Socialization starts early in life and continues throughout the lifespan, so it shapes our identities, desires, and behaviors. Boys are taught to be tough and independent while girls are taught to be soft and caring. These gender norms can have an impact on boys' development as they grow up because they have been told that they should act differently than girls. The harsh reality of equality for men. This video is about the discrimination that men face in society. It discusses the topics of why there is a wage gap, how men are seen as sexual objects, and the gender bias that men face. The harsh reality of equality for men. In society, we have been conditioned to view men as strong and unbreakable. This has led to an unequal treatment of men in many aspects of life, including work and family life. In this article, I will explore some examples of how society has made it difficult for men to be equal with women. Wage gap. In America, women make 78 cents on every dollar a man makes, National Partnership for Women and Families. The wage gap is an ongoing issue that stems from gender discrimination and the lack of policies to protect workers from it. There are many reasons why this happens, such as not negotiating salaries or asking for raises due to fear or being told they're too aggressive or not fitting into traditional gender roles. That attitude is toxic for women and men who are focused on making their own choices, not on being judged and boxed in by other people's opinions or needs. And the problem of male entitlement is still at the root of why it takes an average of 2.6 years for an employee to receive a raise at some companies, let alone one that is worth $10,000 or more. But before you get too upset about this victimization complex, the often unspoken, harsh reality of society and why it's important to address the issue. This section will be all about the harsh reality of society and why it's important to address the issue. First of all, it is important to address this issue because there are many people who live in poverty. This includes children and adults who are trying to make ends meet on a day-to-day basis. There are also many people who live in a state of homelessness, which is a sad reality for many individuals. Secondly, we need to address this issue because there are many people who live with mental illness or a mental disability. There are also those who have substance abuse problems that they need support for. We need to be aware that these realities exist and do our best to help those in need as much as possible. Finally, we should address this issue because there are so many people who live without hope or opportunity in their lives. They may not have access to an education, or they may not even know what their dreams could be due to how they were raised, but they have the power to change that. It's more than just about having a job, it's about being able to make a good living for yourself and your family. How gender equality is ruining men's lives. The is about men who are being discriminated against for their gender. This discrimination is not only unfair, but it also has a negative effect on their lives. The article talks about how these men are not given the same opportunities as women are and how they are blamed for their own problems. The article also mentions that the discrimination against men has been around for centuries, and it is still happening today. How we can help men in society today. The society we live in today is very different from the one that existed even a couple of decades ago. Today, women are more educated than men and they have more opportunities to earn an income. Women are also the ones who are expected to take care of children, do household chores, and handle all the other responsibilities that come with being a wife. Men in society today face many challenges because of these changing dynamics. They can feel like they have less power as compared to their fathers or grandfathers did in the past. They also might be having difficulties finding a partner and establishing themselves in their careers due to societal expectations. It is time for us to start addressing these issues and help men cope with them so that they can lead happy lives too. Our vision for a more male-friendly society. Men have been the subject of many misperceptions. They are often seen as less emotional, less communicative and less nurturing. However, these are all misconceptions that have been created by society. Men are not different from women in their emotional capacity and they can be just as nurturing as women. We want to create a more male-friendly society where men are not judged for the way they behave based on their gender. The harsh reality of being a male in the present-day world. The world has always been a harsh place for males. But in the present day, it has become even more so. There are many factors that contribute to this, the first of which is feminism. Feminism, as a movement and ideology, was born from the idea of equality between genders. But as time went on, it became less about equality and more about female superiority, to the point where feminism had become a derogatory term for some people. This is not to say that all feminists are like this, but there are those who do believe that men are inferior beings and should be treated as such. The second factor is technology and social media. They have made life much easier for women while simultaneously making it much harder for men. Women can now find out what their male peers earn, via sites like Glassdoor, and can also easily find out who they should date or marry, via online dating sites.